Next month in August of 2020, we'll be in Maine at Acadia National Park. We'll be there for a full 7 days. And then in October of 2020, 3 months from now, we will be in Hawaii. All of that has been canceled due to COVID-19. If we count it up this year, we've got Maine, Hawaii, Yosemite in California. I had a trip planned out there. Tahoe, is that it? 4. So we're dealing with 4 different trips that have all been either postponed or canceled entirely for 2020 alone, all of which because of COVID-19. So as you saw in that last clip, we were supposed to be going to Acadia National Park in Maine in August of 2020. It is now August 11th that I'm filming this. I think that's right. Yeah, I am right. August 11th, 2020. So we kind of started looking around, trying to figure out what exactly we had available to us, what would be a doable trip with everything going on. And with some last minute scheduling, we're headed out to Glacier National Park in northern Montana. So let's go.
Really fast.
So it's our first day in Glacier National Park. We did our travel day yesterday, didn't get in town till late. First trail that we're doing here is Avalanche Lake Trail, and we're starting out on this little like Trail of the Cedars that gets you there. Everybody always asks how early you have to get to these different trailheads in the park to be able to find parking in the morning. We've been up since 5. We're staying in Columbia Falls, which is just about, it was about an hour from the Avalanche Lake trailhead, and parking is almost full. I think there was about 3 spots left before 6:30. So, and there's a long line of cars coming in. So Logan Pass is still about another 15-20 miles up the road, so if you're gonna go there, I mean, I'll show that in like a future video that we're gonna make here while we're at the park. It fills up really early, and it's a Wednesday morning, so just keep that in mind. It's on all of the different websites, all the different forums, but it's true. You have to get up early to be able to make parking. So even though it is Wednesday morning and the parking lot was almost full at 6:30, there's really nobody on this trail. Once again, this is Avalanche Lake Trail. You start out on Trail of the Cedars, which is about 0.8 miles. Then it takes you to Avalanche Lake Trail, which is 2 miles out to the lake. You'll of course have to come back and do that again to get back to your car. So round trip's about 5.6, 5.8 miles. But even though the parking lot is pretty much full, there's nobody out here. Like, we've pretty much had the trail to ourselves. We've had 1 or 2 people pass us, but nothing like I expected for how many cars were actually here. So I don't know if they've already beat us out or what's going on. So far, we haven't really made it to the final point in this hike. We haven't made it to the ending point of the trail. We have made it to a certain section of the lake and just decided to stop and rest for a second. So far, this trail would be a really good trail if you had kids or somebody who maybe couldn't do the high elevation climb or a more difficult hike. This one's been pretty flat and pretty straightforward. So if you're looking for a trail that's kind of moderate, nothing too crazy, this is definitely a good one with a lot of good views, as you can see behind me. So we made it here to Avalanche Lake. I have to do this quick because we're getting rained on. There was a grizzly bear cub on the other side of the lake. We got a few good pictures of it. I'll put a picture on the screen right now of what we got so far. But yeah, it's raining. It's really pretty here. A good hike, easy, good for kids. Just watch out for the bears. Okay, so we finished Avalanche Lake Trail. We made it back to the car. It was a little overcast this morning. We got rained on a little bit up there. That's why we just had that little piece of video from when we were actually at the lake. We saw a little, like, small bear on the other side of the lake. There was a bunch of people up there taking pictures of it, but we didn't really get to see that much of it. It kind of wandered back into the woods. That trail got really crowded around 9:30 in the morning. So we kind of beat the rush getting there before 7 a.m. On the way out, we barely saw anyone, and then when we were coming back through, there was a ton of people headed back out. So now the sun's kind of come out. We've traveled further up going to the Sun Road. We've passed Logan Pass, and we're currently at a visitor center. Now we're going to head back down to hike St. Mary's Falls. We finally found parking at St. Mary's Falls Trail. If you're going to come here, you need to have a plan. Like, that's the only way that I think that you can probably do this park, especially if you have limited days. You have to know, like, which trails you're going to go on and what time you're going to be there, because it's about 15 until noon on a Wednesday, and every single parking space in this park is full. Like, we just had to search around and turn around for like 30 minutes to try and find a parking spot. Not getting here early and not like being on the ball as far as where you're going and what you want to do is just kind of a recipe for you to miss out on stuff if you're coming to Glacier. Today we started out at Avalanche Lake Trail and we were able to get there really early. That was a good idea. And then now this is the only day that we're here that we're going to be able to bounce around and do multiple trails. All of the other days that we're here, the trails that we have picked out are like 10 to 15 miles long. So they're going to take much longer. We just have to make sure that we get there early in the morning. Normally, Glacier has a shuttle service, kind of like Zion and these other very popular parks, that you can park your car in town and then ride the shuttle up to the different trailheads for the hikes that you want to do. But that shuttle is not operating in 2020 due to COVID-19. So it's all based on if you can get a parking spot, whether or not you get to do these hikes. We've seen a ton of people parking way down the road and then walking to the trailheads that they want to get to, which is fine, but this going to the Sun Road is so narrow. People have had like their little kids, like 5-year-olds, walking out on the side of the road, and it just kind of seems dangerous, especially for the amount of cars that are here. I mean, it's absolutely packed. But we were able to find a parking spot finally, so we're going to get on this trail, see what it's like. The sun finally came out, so hopefully the hike in the afternoon is going to be better than us getting a little rained on and it being overcast this morning at Avalanche Lake Trail. So we'll see.
We gotta, he was like, you'll be fine, just drink some water.
It's really exposed. Like, it looks like there was a wildfire or something here at some point. Not too recent.
So it's just like,
So if you hike St. Mary's Falls, you can also continue on about a mile up and go to Virginia Falls, which is where we're at now. So we went ahead and hiked up to the other set of waterfalls here. We didn't really plan on doing that. We thought it was just gonna be like a mile out, mile back to our car, but it was like an additional mile to get up here, but we had plenty of time today. As you saw before when we were coming through at St. Mary's Falls, I didn't see anywhere online before we got here that you can actually do like some, I guess what you would call like cliff jumping off into the little pool of water and then swim to the bank. So we're in like full clothes, like hiking pants and boots. So we passed on it, but now we're going back through and we think that we don't want to come back up here on another day because all of our other days already have like certain hikes scheduled. So I think we're gonna go jump in this like waterfall lagoon thing in our clothes. I think that's the plan. So we're gonna go do that now.
It's so cold. My legs are a lot heavier.
So we just made it back to the car after doing the like waterfall jump and everything here at St. Mary's Falls. I'd say all the hikes that we went on today were probably the most family friendly hikes that Glacier has to offer. You can take, I mean, of course you can take kids on any of these trails, like you can take them on Highline and the really tough ones, but you know, kids usually have a problem hiking going 15 or so miles a day, and these were like, had a lot of different things that would like pique their interest. There's a ton of kids on these trails. There were a ton of kids like playing in the water, swimming in the falls, and the distance isn't too bad. So we're packing up now. We're getting back on the road, heading back down Road to the Sun, back down toward West Glacier and to our Airbnb. We made it back to our Airbnb. We are staying in Columbia Falls, which is about 30 minutes outside of the West Glacier entrance to Glacier National Park. I will link all of our Airbnb information down below if you are interested in checking out the same place we've stayed. We've only been here for a day, but so far everything's been really nice. It's really clean and it's really conveniently close to things like grocery stores and places we want to eat. So far, it's a good stay. If you are like us and you are visiting Glacier National Park and you don't camp and you either stay in either hotels or Airbnbs, you've kind of only got 3 towns around here that you have options for as far as your Airbnbs, and that is Columbia Falls, which is where we're staying and it's the closest. You have the town of Whitefish, and you have another town, I'm gonna mess up the pronunciation of this, I think it's Caspel or Capel, something like that. If I'm butchering that name, which I already know that I am, let me know in the comment section down below. But it's a little bit further out. That's where the Walmart is and a bunch of different restaurants. They are about 10 to 15 minutes away from one another. Columbia Falls is the one that's closest to the park, so that's why we chose to stay here. I kind of mentioned this earlier when we were looking for parking, or kind of fighting for parking at St. Mary's Falls. If you're gonna come to this particular park and do this trip, you need to kind of take the time before you leave to lay out what you want to do and when you're going to do it. So, like for instance, today we knew that we had to be up by 5 a.m. to make it to the parking lot at Avalanche Lake to make sure that we were able to get on the trail and get parking, so we ensured that we were able to knock that out today. We've got the other things planned for this trip, like the horseback riding and the paddle boarding, that I already scheduled in advance before we left, so we don't necessarily have to worry about that as much because those are at their own private places and we know we're going to be able to get in. The rest of the days we're here, we have to be at Logan Pass, we have to be at some of these other trailheads to make sure that we get to do all the hikes that we want to do. Today will be our shortest hiking day of the trip, and we only did about 10 miles today. So if we were to sleep in or not get to the trailhead parking lot on time for some of these other longer hikes that are going to be in excess of maybe 15 miles, then if we got a late start on those, we might not get to do those for the trip. Because if we started those at noon, the way that we hike and the way we kind of like to take our time and see everything, we might have to end up cutting those short if we weren't really on schedule and made sure that we got to where we needed to be. It's kind of unfortunate about this park because, like I said, it is just so crowded. There are so many people here, and we've been to Jackson Hole, we've been to, as you saw in my last video, I'll link it on the screen right now, for our Shenandoah National Park trip. This park is nothing like any of the other national parks that we've been to. And we've been to the West Coast, East Coast, all over. This is by far the most popular or the most crowded that we've ever seen a national park. And they do a really good job of it here. Maybe it would be a little different if the shuttles were actually running, but that's just not going to be an option if you're traveling during the whole COVID pandemic. So that's just something that you need to plan for, but everything is totally doable. I would just make sure to check the Glacier National Park website. Logan Pass parking lot usually fills up before 8 a.m. every single morning, but I think that's being very generous at a time like this. I guarantee this morning it was filled before 7:30. Just keep that kind of stuff in mind, because it would suck to make a trip like this, to travel all the way out here and not get to do something you wanted to do because you were just kind of caught off guard or not ready for the situation at hand. But like I said, it is going on 5 o'clock now. We are getting ready to go in, get showered at our Airbnb, and then go off to dinner. And then, since we have been up since 5 a.m., we will probably call it an early night tonight, because we have to be back up super early tomorrow morning to get back out to our next thing. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I will have 2 more 2020 Glacier National Park videos coming out in the coming weeks that are going to be showing all of the different trails, all the different things that are open and closed, and the wildlife, and all kinds of different situations going on here in Glacier. If that kind of content benefits you, or you're planning a trip, or you just like these national park videos, please subscribe to my channel. We travel all the time, so we always try to make it to the national parks. This is something we love to do. We love making these videos and helping other people out with their trips. We're gonna be in Glacier National Park for the next week, and then we have a month off, and then in October of this year we will be in Florida, and we will be going to all of the national parks that Florida has to offer. They have 3, and we'll be making a video for each individual one of those. So subscribe to the channel for future content. If you have any questions about our Glacier National Park trip, or any of the other past national park trips on my channel, please reach out to me in the comment section. All of my social media accounts are linked below. You can also follow me on there. Ask me any questions on there. We're always posting pictures of our trips. If you need any help or you have any questions, reach out to me, and I will see you all in the next video.